People are struggling to understand why the British economy is collapsing and it is changing the way that never been actually. Well, there are many factors why the British economy is collapsing and it will collapse sooner or later. The one of the main points, of course, is the British pound itself. People don't get it in the United Kingdom and around the world that the British pound influence is going down and will go down eventually to the level that is the same to currencies, local currencies, and this is inevitable. Nobody wants British pounds today. The British pound is going down. It actually lost from almost 7 Swiss francs in 50 years to 1 Swiss franc. 50 years ago, 1 British pound was almost 7. Today is 1. It went down to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 year by year. And the same is happening to many other currencies. Just the British pound is losing and is losing much stronger to gold than other currencies. And this is it. This is one of the main points, that the British pound is not producing anymore the banknotes that are with some kind of value. Actually, the British pound is now a coupon. This is first thing, and this is what the British economy is facing now. They will not explain that to a wider public, because then people will start to panic. And maybe this is a good move, but people know it. Actually, people know it around the world. Nobody want to hold British pounds. No, who has at least financial, a little bit financial literacy, economic head, economic brain, at least a little bit, would never want to hold the British pound as some kind of asset. This is obvious. Or the same is to Australian dollar and Canadian dollar, as actually Canadians and Australians are devaluating this currency according to their needs, because they are actually mining a lot of gold, a lot of silver and other metals that are quite expensive. Just Australia itself is actually mining around 200 tons of gold a year, according to last statistics. So the main political move for Australia is to weaken their currency, because if the currency will get stronger to gold, Australian dollar, then they will not be able to sell the gold that they are extracting from the earth, rather from their mines. So this is their main goal. The same to Canadians. Canada is a beautiful big country, almost a continent, with just 40 million people. So they just have to mine and extract. The same Australia, just 25 million people and big continent for themselves. So this is their main goal, to weaken the currency, to mine. That's it. Okay, but Britain has more problem, as the British currency used to be based on gold and on imperial influence. Now there is no influence, and even there is no sentiment anymore around the world. Maybe in some countries that are in Commonwealth, but sooner or later, through internet, through media, through wider knowledge, they will find out that actually the British pound is just a piece of paper that is losing day by day. That's it. But there are much more other factors that are actually causing the problems, and this is of course not a single problem. Okay, there are many problems. It's not about the currency, but it is one of the main problems, as they have to face it. And the British pound must be some kind of devalued. That's why they've got this very high interest rate, because they don't know what to do. they don't know what to do because they've got 3.8% inflation, which is so high in the Eurozone, in the European Union, that they got out of the just few years ago. So this is another hit. Inflation can be 1%, 1.5. British have 4% inflation, 4% interest rate. It is disaster. People even don't understand what does it mean, and just few understand. And this means everything. Actually, this means the collapse. The collapse of the interest in British pound, the collapse of everything actually in the United Kingdom, because their currency was one of the main, like dollar, okay? Dollar was once, dollar is today this currency that the British pound used to be, and then they actually put some value to this British pound after they actually created this imperial sentiment, and there was no internet in 80s, 90s, and there was no free trade like today. There was no currency, cryptocurrencies. People didn't get gold. There was no so much internet brokers that you would use for trading stocks and other markets and other assets. That's it. And this is the first thing. Okay, the first thing and one of the most important things. There are also other important things like the pension system, but the pension system is actually getting out of this British pound because once when British pound was very strong, you would buy almost 2,000 euros for each £1,000. So the minimal, so 1,000 British pounds that you saved was a lot of euros. Now it is 1-to-1 actually, and it is going down, and it probably will be below 1 or something like this. We will see, or just the prices will be very high in the United Kingdom because the inflation is actually every move they do now is bad. Okay, it's just it's so bad. It's so bad for the United Kingdom now. High inflation, high interest rate, and they can't do nothing about this. You see, they can't do nothing about this, as we can't do nothing about our sun that once it will. Collapse, it will get bigger and bigger and will then collapse. We cannot do nothing about the galaxies that will collide with our galaxy, and we can do nothing about it. Just Britain can do nothing about this, as the British pound is colliding with the real assets now, because I believe the British pound is a fake asset, because it was pumped for many decades, and now it is getting to the place where it belongs. Some assets sometimes sometimes are pumped, and I believe that the British pound is pumped. So the retirement system is so weak now that they actually put the pension age at the age of 67, so it will be 68. People must work 35 years. It is one of the worst pension systems in Europe, out of those rich countries, and even poorer countries that used to hold this label that they are poor. Sooner or later will actually catch up with the United Kingdom, not because they are rich or something like this. No. Just the UK is going down, just like this. Okay, but like I said, it isn't a single thing. It isn't a single thing. The UK problems come from a mix of weak productivity and investment, Brexit related frictions, big shock, energy shock, high inflation like I mentioned, and interest rate, and political fiscal missteps that together slowed the growth, pushed up borrowing cost, and squeezed households below like expectations, but people don't get it. They blame European Union, they blame they even use this racist sentiment in British imperial mind, because they are very racist. That's why they used the anti-Eastern Central European sentiment to get out of the European Unions, because they thought that Lithuanians, Slovaks, Hungarians, Czechs, Latvians, Estonians are blamed for their bad economic situation, because many people from the European Union came to the United Kingdom. But now they are getting out of the European of the Great Britain, and they use this racistic sentiment, fascist sentiment towards the Central European nations, like to Polish, Lithuanians, and this was the water for their actually ship. Brexit ship, the racist sentiment about the Europeans, okay? This is a historical fascist fact about the British people, that they actually used the hatred towards the Polish people, Lithuanians, Estonians, Latvians, Slovaks, Czechs, towards the Europeans itself, actually, okay? These are facts. This is not something that I'm making up. These are facts, But they used that wrongly, and because this is the British economic situation is not because that the Polish people came to the United Kingdom working 16 hours a day, or Latvians or Slovaks or Hungarians or Croatians or I don't know, or Slovenians. It's not that. Actually, they came and they built. They brought money to United Kingdom, and they worked hard. But they use it as a main reason that the British pound is collapsing. How on earth the Central European people, like Polish people, are blamed for the British pound collapse? Come on, the British Imperium collapsed 100 years ago. Well, because there are very racistic DNA in British people, because they think that they are still imperialists, etc. They used it, and that's why they voted for Brexit. So they thought that they will send all Polish people and Slovakian people, many people, they will be sent, because they said we want our country back. So they wanted to send all Polish people from the United Kingdom, and Slovakians and Czechs and Croatians and Slovenians, and this is what it was. This is what it was, ladies and gentlemen. And but that was fake. Because the British economy is collapsing, as the British pound is collapsing, the British economy is collapsing, as another part of the world are growing, like China, like Indonesia, like Japan is getting out of this madness that they've been in last 30 years, like Croatia, like Philippines, like Thailand, like Cambodia. This is how it is, ladies and gentlemen. And they got out of the European Union because they thought that the British economy is destroyed by hard-working Europeans. The 95% of Europeans that came to the United Kingdom, they came to work in their low-paid factories, at shit works that British people didn't want, and they thought that it is the cause of the collapse of the British pound. This is quite stupid, because the British pound was collapsing just before those nations joined the European Union, so it was collapsing, and because those nations came to the United Kingdom, they built, and the British pound actually growth happened after this 2007-2008 collapse. But well, you always have this 10-20% stupid people, or 30%. In United Kingdom there was a lot of more than that, because they use this anti-European sentiment to vote for Brexit. Okay, this is the first things. Talking about the United Kingdom, well, this is actually how it is, and there are no very complex, something that you can't really understand. Actually, the economy is easy if you actually working on this economy, if you are trying to understand the economy. Well, one day you will understand. It is not difficult like walking, but you must practice walking. Okay, you little infant, then you are growing, and at the age of 4 or 5 you are running fast. It takes time. Okay, economy is not difficult, so there are no very difficult things to understand. But they don't talk about that in mainstream media, because usually people in media, they don't understand nothing. People in media, they just look nice and they ask questions. They even don't understand the answers, and they don't understand economy. They don't understand the finance. Then the most of them, they don't understand nothing. They just talk nicely. They have white teeth and nice suit, and they read from prompter. They usually don't have a very high IQ. They usually don't have a very high knowledge. This is how it is, and the same with the politicians. Politicians are actually, you are voting for politicians, so even a donkey can get to the parliament. This is how it is, ladies and gentlemen. So it is not that the public don't know it because the media don't want to say it, and the politicians don't want to say it. Probably 90% of media people and politicians don't get it, and they will not. And it's even if you tell them, they will not understand the basis, because they must understand the basis to understand the outcome. And this is how it is. Well, so there is, of course, this long-running weak productivity. This is the core structural problem, ladies and gentlemen. Reduced wages, tax revenues, and living standards growth. Okay, the IMF actually and other analysts points to weak trend productivity as the main obstacle to stronger growth. There is also low business investment and underinvestment recovery after the global financial crisis, but has been weaker and moved more volatile since 2016. They voted for Brexit that time, reducing capital per worker and productivity improvements. Independent reviews highlights the constitution, the condition of this society, that they don't understand why it is everything happening. And of course, Brexit itself, because on this fascist basics, there is another basis. The British people, many British people, they this is quite funny, because many British people don't understand that they are on European continent, at least on this island on this island called Britain, which is not great actually. It's a quite small island. It is not great. Their country is not great. The country is size of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, not more. The whole Scotland and England. It is quite small country. But didn't have communism and didn't have a Second World War on their land, just a little bit. So that's why they had this advantage. But the advantage is gone already now and is going down. Okay, so these are the main factors, and you can't stop it. You can't stop it. You can't stop these factors. You can't change it. it will go on. It will go on. And now the very high prices in the United Kingdom will actually develop this sentiment that the Great Britain is too expensive. Even the minimum pension in the United Kingdom is much lower than in many other much poorer countries. This is the case. And you may think, okay, but we've got they can think that they've got high minimum wage, but this minimum wage is less and less year by year because of the high inflation, high interest rate, high house prices. So even if you have a high minimum wage, then it doesn't mean you will be able to rent a nice house or buy a nice house or go for a vacation. Okay, and this is happening now in the United Kingdom, and it will happen until this economy will set up to its normal, actually, energy, normal power to normal level that it is actually without this pumped British pound, without this influence that they are losing heavily. So we don't know how long it will last. We don't know if that will be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. But I think this loss of economic power can last for 10 or even 15 or 20 years, year by year. Okay, year by year. It doesn't need to be like a fast collapse, but it is like year by year, like to Swiss franc, from 6 francs to 5 francs to 4 francs to 3 francs per 1 pound, 2 francs, 1 franc, actually. And this is how it is. The Great Britain is the British economy is over as it used to be, and it will never be the same because they don't have power for it. They have nothing. Like I said in the beginning of this movie, of this tutorial, that for example, Australians, they have gold. Australians, they have a big country and just 25 million people for it. Okay, so they shared the big country for 25 million people only. The same Canada, 40 million big country. Okay, and it doesn't belong to Australia. Doesn't belong to United Kingdom. Canada doesn't belong to the United Kingdom. We know there is this story about that the Prime Minister of Canada must pledge to the British King, actually, which means that Canada is not independent country. Actually, Australia and Canada is not independent country. They are not independent nations at all. They are subjects of the British crown in some way. Well, they are actually subjects of the British crown in a very good way, real way. But I don't think so that they are getting out of Australia and Canada wealth as people think. I think that this way, because if they want to give to British, that they will be poorer. I don't think this works this way. And there is too many people in the United Kingdom, so they could hide this past wealth from Australians and Canadians to United Kingdom. I think faster Canadians and Australians would expel these people that are pledging to the British King, I think, rather than getting poorer. So the they subject to British crown, Australians and Canadians. They are not independent countries at all. But I don't think it means that they are passing the wealth to United Kingdom, they will be the subject of the British Crown. I'm not telling that they should expel from their country this people that are pledging to foreign king, but I am talking that probably they will still pledge. But I don't think this means that they are passing the wealth to United Kingdom. Okay, this is what I am talking about. I think the king will be still there, but so they are not actually democratic countries. That's why I have very big fun when Australians or Canadians talk about democracy. They are not democratic countries at all, and they are not independent countries at all. It's very funny, you know. It is the same very funny when I see in some English media or British, Canadian, or Australian media that in some countries, some people, they want to take their churches or their in charge of faith or religion or something like this, but the British king itself is the head of the British church, but they are showing with their fingers at other people, you know. It's a funny way, but you must understand, you know, you must just see clearly, and this is what I see, is that the British economy for next 20 years will be going down bit by bit, and then from that point, maybe from that point, they will be able to grow again. Maybe, but it may happen that they will not, that they will stagnate, because the other part of the world, other countries will be too strong to give the place. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. I hope you subscribe. I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.